Hi everybody, welcome back to Spruverse, my scale model universe. And back on the bench is the Delta Flyer from the one and only Cosmic Scale Models in the UK. And if you don't know about Cosmic Scale Models, please go check them out. I'll put a link right here where to go for Cosmic Scale Models. I'll also have the information on my website, which is spruverse.com. And you can also follow the progression of my builds always at @Spruverse on Instagram. And of course, once in a while, TikTok is clicking away. But Keith over at Cosmic is just an absolute gentleman, a dream to deal with. And I'm very serious when I say that his product is fantastic. This is a what I call a small batch manufacturer. You know, the old sort of euphemism for that would have been garage kit, but these are high quality resin kits. And Keith is a true professional. He's an artist, and he's actually a designer by trade. And so what you're getting here is a tremendous amount of detail, not only in the kits, but also in the instructions and how they're put together. But anyway, I've covered that in a previous episode. I just wanted to sort of reiterate that to you. But here we are. And because this is a 3D printed kit, there is some gradation lines on this kit. But after a couple of coats of primer filler, a lot of it does go away. And I don't find it very obtrusive to me. It doesn't bother me at all. I'm fine with it. So in this second episode, what we're going to do is concentrate on getting the lighting into the main body. I have the lighting ready to go in the cockpit itself, which is a separate kit, by the way. You don't get the interior kit with the model. It is a separate kit. However, you can certainly build the model without the interior kit, and you can just simply use either some blacked out plastic of your own that if you choose to, or you can certainly use Keith's, which he provides with the kit. He provides this piece here. It's perfectly acceptable, and it adds a nice dimension to the kit. And he gives you the clear as well as the blacked out, if that's how you choose to go. Now, I can tell you as an update to this kit that when you purchase this kit now, you no longer have to cut out this rear piece at the back, and he's been providing a resin STL file, or you can certainly do it in PLA. I've tried both, but resin is obviously the way to go. And you would cut out this piece on top, and then you would place this addition in there. And then I've added a green light to the top here, and this is a breathing green light. And in my Take 5 episode, I will talk about those. But this will pulse. And then, of course, I've added a blue light to the rear of this cockpit, and that is for the lithium chamber for the power source. And I've also added a little red light to the rear of this cockpit just to add some interest. But I'm sort of I've gone very low key on the interior of this kit, but it was a lot of fun to build. A couple of things I want to say. A big, obviously, shout out to Lou Delmaso at Aztek Dummy, who turned me onto this kit. And he was the first to point out that it was going to be very complicated to actually try to fix this seam, and even then you wouldn't have gotten any light out of it. So he wanted to remove it, and he did get the STL file initially for the clear part, and that's where I got it from. And then Keith started making it available on his website. Kudos to him. And now the upgrade of this kit, I can tell you, finally has this all cleaned out and cut, and the clear part is actually now part of the kit. So the evolution of this has been awesome. And thanks to all the help that the community puts into these sorts of things, these builders and these manufacturers really get an opportunity to sort of put their models on their feet. But anyway, so that is that. What I'm doing now is, and I'm going to use all Evans lighting design lights for the various light sources. We have 2 blue resin pieces that come with the kit. they go in the wings here, and they're going to be lit up with 2 pre-resisted lights. And these are blue. I'll just show you. They're lovely and bright, as you can see here. The quality of this is extraordinary. They're lovely and bright. And you can see they're nice and bright. And so I'm going to be using 2 of those, and they will light up the blue wings. And then the front and rear lights, which I presume are some kind of an engine thruster, although somebody please correct me if I'm wrong. But in the front, I'm going to be using chips, which are a slightly smaller but quite punchy red. And I'll be using 2 of these, and I'll light this one up for you so you can see it. There is that one. They're quite punchy, they really are. And I'll be using those in the front, and I'm going to be using 2 on both sides. And then in the rear, I'm going to be using nano reds again. And that is the extent of it. So between that lighting group, that lighting cluster, I should say, and my green breathing light for the top of the ship, and of course my blue and red that are going inside the ship, with a couple of white lights. I should say, I should have pointed out that I have a couple of white lights in the consoles in the front of the cockpit, a couple up there. So that is the lighting of this. And curiously, you know, when you look at Keith's really nice, he's done a really lovely job with the instructions. There are some really nice photos in here of the exterior with these lit, and there is a soft glow to them. And so I think we're going to do quite nicely. Now, I should point out there are a couple of navigational lights that he provides, a couple of green or a couple of orange, and they will go here. Now, I haven't decided yet whether or not, and I have to see if I've got some breathing chips. I don't know if I have them in stock. If I do, I may just put them on there just to get those going. But if not, I probably will just try to hit them with a little bit of white light underneath so they've got some punch to them. So the next step is to install my lights and then place the cockpit into this and seal it up. Easier said than done. So I'm not going to spend 2 hours sort of fiddling and kerfuffing with this on camera. But rest assured, I don't think I'm going to have a tremendous amount of trouble. Now, I did snap off a pin in the back, so I'm going to have to make sure that that is flush. There are locating pins that came with this, and unfortunately, with all of my pushing and pulling and kerfuffling, I've snapped one in the rear, so that's going to be a bit of a challenge. But for the most part, it goes together quite nicely. Now, we do have a little bit of a bulge here. And so what we are going to do is we're going to use 5-minute epoxy, and we're going to do this piece by piece by piece. And it's going to take a little while, which is why I can't do this on camera, because if you try to do this as one complete glue up, I think you're going to be in a world of hurt. So I think the best plan is to do this piece by piece by piece, and you'll get a better result. So that's where we are. When we come back, we will have all the lighting in, and this bad boy will be put together, and then we can start looking at how to clean up these seams and move on to final paint. So we'll be back in a brief while. Okay, thanks. So I've been having a little bit of fun with this Delta Flyer, and it's looking pretty good. I'm actually very happy with it. I'm trying to do a couple of things. One was sort of organize the lighting situation, and 2 was obviously come up with a plan for putting this kit together. Now, basically, what I discovered in my endeavor to put this together, wow, that rhymes. is that I did not need to glue this interior into the ship, and that did a couple of things for me, actually. The first thing it did was it made it a lot easier for me to find the right position for my top. Now, my cockpit top is drying. I gave it a coat of paint. It sits in here beautifully flush. So I've got absolutely no issues at all. However, there is one tiny one, and that is right here, where the top of the canopy sits. I can't get it flush. And it has nothing to do with anything other than it's just the way my particular piece is built. But fear not, I'm going to use Milliput probably, or epoxy putty, something like that. But I'll put some putty and I will clean that up, and you won't be able to tell. Now, what I'm going to do now is, well, first of all, I suppose, let me do this. Let me get the lights on for you so you can see the lights. Let's do that. And then just to show you what is lighting up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to mask this off, and I'm going to give it a really nice coat of my Duplo primer filler. It already has a coat of primer on it, but now it needs one more coat just to make sure that my seams are nice and clean. Now the Duplicolor filler will do a very nice job at helping me, and I'll probably need a couple of coats. But if there's anything really that sticks out in terms of the seams, I'm going to want to get those taken care of. So let me get this fired up for you. There she is. Hang on here. Just give me a second. There we go. It would help if I was left-handed, but I'm not. I'm right-handed. And I could put my transformer on, but I'm too lazy to pull the cables out. But I'm going to do that. Hold on here 1 second. Okay. So let me point out a bunch of things to you. The cockpit has 3 light sources in it. There's a blue light for my engine emitter coil in the back. There's a red light I'm using in the back. That is on. And I've got, if I turn it around, I've got 2 little lights emitting from the central console, and that is it. And so that's about really all you're going to, I think, be able to see from the cockpit. And now, obviously when the lights are all turned off, it's going to be fine. And, I don't know about you guys, but I don't tend to turn the lights on my models very often. It's really strange. I know a lot of people have got some pretty awesome glass shelves, and everything is plugged into the back, and you just flip it all on and everything lights up like a Christmas tree, which is awesome, don't get me wrong. But the way my head works, that would hurt it. So I'm happy to be able to sort of pull one aside and share the lighting system with somebody, but for the most part, my lights don't go on. But I have to tell you, it's an awful lot of fun to light these. And I would highly recommend you light this one. The other thing I wanted to share with you is there is my breathing green light from, this is a 3mm breathing LED from Evans Lighting Design. We've talked about it, and I shared a 5-minute brief video with you on that on my Take 5 series. It's looking a little saucy on camera. And in fairness, it's looking a little saucy in person. So what I'm probably going to do is get a little bit of fiber fill and see if that makes sense in terms of diffusion. If it doesn't, I've got a couple of other tricks up my sleeve to get that diffused. But really, it's sort of just to get that soft glow. And as I've mentioned now, if you pick up this kit from Keith at Cosmic Scale Models, awesome human being. It's a great product, but now it's even, he's even upped his game even more. And this clear piece now comes with the kit, and the opening is already out. So you don't have to hack away at it the way I did. and print your own clear piece, which was a brilliant master move on Lou Delmaso's part over at Aztek Dummy, who is my mentor and guru. And so all things creative, I do follow him. And so that was a master move, and it does make perfect sense to do it. So if you have already ordered this kit and you haven't built it yet, this is the preferred way to go, guys. Get the STL file if you can and print one out. If you can't, find a friend who perhaps can. And maybe if it's not too many people, send me an email and I'll see what I can do for you as well. So the lighting is in, everything is ready to go. So what I'm going to do now is mask this and give it a nice coat, as I said, of primer, and we'll see where we are. But so far, so good. I'm pretty happy with it. Lots of progress to share with you, and I've really been enjoying this build. It's a lot of fun. If you're just joining late in the game here, please go back and check out this build from the very beginning, because it's not just about building another kit. There's sort of layers here to this build that I wanted to sort of share with you as a community. The first is obviously that this build is from a company called Cosmic Models, I should say. It's the Delta Flyer from Voyager. And Keith over at Cosmic Scale Models he's doing a phenomenal job doing these small batch builds. And so I'm happy to be a part of his world, and he's just amazing, and he continues to refine his product. So please go and check him out. That's CosmicScaleModels.com. He's got a lot of interesting things there. Again, these are 3D resin printed kits, so it's a little bit of a different animal. And but they're beautifully crafted kits, and I highly recommend them. So here we are, and what I've done to date is I've installed all of the lenses for the lighting. Obviously, all the lighting is in, and the ship has been sealed. I've got basically the sort of the shell of it all done. Now, my cockpit interior sat in the ship very nicely. I did not have to glue it in. It sort of wedged itself in. I was a little concerned about it, but it went in quite well. And once you have the actual canopy on it, sadly, as with all things, as with all interiors, you lose an awful lot, as you can see here. Now, I do have some cabin lights. I've got some ambient light coming from the front of the consoles in the cockpit. I have a blue light which represents the dilithium crystal chamber, the energy field for the ship, and a small red light in the back, I suppose indicating that the cabin is locked for flight, something like that. A couple of little ticky-tacky things. One is right here on the top of the ship, right here, there is a little tiny gap which I'm going to have to deal with, and I'm going to just use a little epoxy sculpt to sort of sculpt that in and clean it up. I could not get it to sit flush, even though the entire rest of the cabin sits flush. So I think it's just one of those little things where perhaps if you are a little more engineering minded than I am, and again, you know, I'm not a master modeler. I'm just a mediocre modeler, but I just love sharing all of this stuff with you and building it, and I hope you get some ideas and get excited about our hobby just from watching me build these things. But I suspect it was probably something I should have test fitted a little better. Now, if you're wondering whether or not the cockpit, the interior is in incorrectly, or is raised too high, it's actually sitting flush on the bottom of the model. My wiring was able to go around the outside of it, and I had some very thin copper wire that went around the back where there is a gap, and there is a small block that is provided, that's built into the kit. So the interior actually sits on that. So there was a place for wiring, and Keith did think about that. So I don't think it is because I'm a little too proud in the back with my wiring. At least I don't think so. But that may be the case. It's just something for you guys to look out for if you choose to build the model. The other thing I have talked about quite a bit is this rear piece here, which is sort of the Borg edition, as it's known. It is when you get this kit, this version of the kit, I had to cut this out, and as I've mentioned in the previous episode, the great Lou Delmaso over at Aztek Dummy pointed this out, and he was kind enough to send me an STL file, and I was able to print out a clear piece in resin that I've painted in green. I've chose to paint in green. But Keith has now updated this kit, and it is already pre-cut. It's pre-designed into the model, and this piece comes with the kit now, as I understand it. So it is a slightly more the ease of build, I should say, is slightly better. And but it does sit on here quite nicely. And once we get a little bit of canopy glue on there and seal that up, that will look really, really nicely. Nice, I should say. My feet are ready to go. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to work on my decals. And I'm not going to put that on camera because you don't need to see me doing decals. However, I will say this. One of the things to obviously be aware of with these decals is that they're not pre-cut. So each decal has to be cut individually. And that does present a little bit of a challenge because you've got to be super, super neat when cutting these out. But once they're down and you've got a good acrylic varnish to seal it, you should lose those edges, and it'll obviously prevent silvering. So that's a good thing. So we'll get all of those on. And I've got a little bit of painting to do. I've got some detail work I want to do. Perhaps even a little bit of dry brushing. There's some exposed mechanicals that I think we can pick off and do something with. And I may even put a little bit of a wash in here just to punch these some of these panel lines. Because I think just for a model, it really accentuates it, and I think it calls for it. And then what I've done, which is a lot of fun, and everybody has their own sort of way of doing these things, but I did want to share this with you because I get a chuckle out of these. And I found this really great base for what is supposed to be a 1/48 scale fighter. It's supposed to be actually, I believe, the deck of an aircraft carrier, but I just love the junk on it. I mean, look at the detail on this. Great fun, and they're only $20. I have talked about these before, but I will share a link with you on how you get these and what it is, so that that'll be in the description below, so that you know if you want something like this, you can get them. Eventually, what I need to do is get a pine base for this to sit on it, so that I've got somewhere to hide my my electronics, the wiring for it, for the lights. But I just wanted to share this with you because once this sits on here, now it does, granted, depending on how you seat it, and I don't have my feet on this yet, so it's all very crude, but great fun. I'm really, really enjoying it. I mean, I think it's just going to make a great little display piece. And I'm not a Voyager fan, as I said, but I love all things Star Trek, and I do love the ships, the spaceships. And so to be able to put something like this together was great fun. Anyway, we'll press on here. And so the next time you see her, she will be finished, lit, and ready to present to you. So stick around. Okay, so here she is, the Delta Flyer from Cosmic Models. And obviously the television series Voyager, Star Trek Voyager. This was a 3D printed resin model, and I have to say it was a lot of fun. It was really beautifully constructed in terms of the parts. The information guide and all of the decals, the way it was packaged and presented, really made this a super fun build. I would highly recommend this to anybody. There were a couple of issues, and we've talked about those, obviously, but he has rectified them. That's Keith over at Cosmic Scale Models has rectified it. You no longer have to worry about cleaning out this rear section for the Borg edition. He gives this to you now with the kit clear, and it's already cut out, so you're ready to go. And he's got several other models in his line that are definitely worth checking out. I'm certainly going to be picking them up. A couple of things that I just wanted to sort of point out to you as we go around this. Now, there are some choices that you can make. Several of the kits I've noticed modelers have actually browned out these lights at the back. I thought better of it because you would have to hand paint that, and I don't know. For me, I liked looking at it a little cleaner, even though it's probably not correct. The canopy went on quite well. I did have to do a little bit of work to the back of this canopy with just a little bit of epoxy sculpt. There was a bit of an edge bleed there that I couldn't quite get it straight. But otherwise, everything else went off like a dream, and so I'm really super happy with her. She was great fun to build, and she's going to look really neat in the collection. Now, what you don't see here is I'm going to put up a pine base, which will sit below this deck, and I think that'll just really punch it up and make it look finished for me. I've used a minimal amount of washes on this, and I chose not to put any dirt hits on it from whatever. Space is a relatively clean environment, and I think the sort of the universe of Star Trek is a relatively clean environment. It's not the Star Wars environment. So now, obviously, with models, you do want to give yourself a little flexibility in terms of washes and things like that, because I think it does allow you to accentuate the model and punch it up a little bit. I'm going to turn these off just to give it a little more, just a little more punch on the lights. So there it is. It's the Delta Flyer from Voyager, Cosmic Scale Models. Please check it out. And I sincerely hope you give this a shot, because I think it's really worth it. So anyway, until next time, as always, guys, please be safe, be well, build something, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.